We have a World Champion Elk Bugling contest hosted by the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation every year. And so far I've been fortunate enough to win it 3 times in the professional division. My son has won the professional division twice, also the men's division once. My daughter is a 5-time world champion. There's a lot of tricks and different sounds that we have to do on stage to be able to win one of these. And just because you're good doesn't mean you're going to win one every time. But it does help to know all the different sounds. We are required to do certain sounds. They send us a list of different sounds that we have to make. And they give you sounds like cow sounds. They have it listed off as an alarm bark, cow-calf communication, lost calf, cow bugle, cow-to-cow communication, and herd gathering. And in the bull sounds, they have a list here of large bull bugle, spike bugle, small bull bugle, scream bugle, growl, galunking, alarm bark into bugle, long high note, and chuckles. They post 3 different cow-calf sounds, 3 different bull sounds the day of the event. And you don't have a lot of time to practice these sounds, so you need to know all these sounds ahead of time. To give you an idea of how they run this contest, they have a panel of 7 judges. The judges are behind a screen. They cannot see any of the contestants. They only know you by numbers. All the contestants draw numbers out of the hat, and you are called on stage by your number. They give you a certain amount of time to do each one of these sounds. I believe it's 15 seconds each for 3 sounds. And then they give you 15 seconds of freestyling, which in your rendition, you can do whatever you want in cow-calf calling and elk bugling. So I'm going to run through these different sounds and show you the different sounds that I have learned, so when they call on me, I have that availability to know what they are. So the first sound that they have is called an alarm bark. The alarm bark sounds like this. It's just a very fast, high-pitched bark into a growl. I pop my tongue up against the latex for the high note, and I come off my voice. Oh. Now you can do it in a 3-stage alarm bark or just 1 alarm bark, but I like to do a 3-stage alarm bark because a lot of times when a cow barks, she likes to bark several times. So when I'm doing the World Championship on a cow bark, alarm bark, this is what I do. That way you get the realism of all the different variations. The next one is what they call the cow-to-calf communication. This is the sounds that cows and calves make talking back and forth to each other. So this is just a cow sound and then into a calf sound back and forth. That's what we call cow-to-calf communication. The next one is what they call lost calf sound. This is when a calf gets separated from its mother and wants to find its mother back and get back into the herd with it. And this lost calf will do this kind of a distress sound, but it's a lost calf sound. It sounds similar to this. A series of little cow-calf sounds, and you can tell that he's lost and wants to find mama. The next one is what they call a cow bugle. And cows do bugle, they just don't get the real high screaming pitch that a bull does, but they can bugle, and it'll sound similar to this. They don't get that high pitched scream at all. It's just more of a moan. So don't get into that high pressure, high pitch like a bull does. Just carry it out part way. The next sound they have us do is a cow-to-cow communication, and that's 2 cow talking back and forth to each other. So just make it sound like two different cows, and that's pretty much all it is to that. Then the herd gathering, that's just a bunch of sounds of all kinds of elk talking, cows and calves and cow bugling and little warning chirps and things like that. So this is what I do for herd gathering. Now we're going to go into the bull sounds that they ask us to do. And the first one they ask us to do is a large bull sound. And this is what I like to do on a large bull sound. I want to make it sure it sounds like a mature bull that's doing some heavy growling. And it says a large bull bugle, so you don't need to chuckle at the end. They don't ask for a chuckle here, just a large bull bugle. That's all I do for a large bull bugle. The next one they ask for is a spike bugle. I just don't get very vicious on the call, hit a high note, and just cut it off shorter at the end. Then they have a small bull bugle, which we call satellite, younger bulls. They don't have the heavy growl to it, so you kind of go in between the spike sound and the herd bull sound. And the next one they call is a scream bugle. A scream bugle is a bull that's challenging you, and he hits that high-pitched airy note. The next sound they ask for is a growl. And the bulls that growl, they just do that wah. So I combine it with a diaphragm in my mouth and the voice at the same time. The next sound they ask us to do is galunking. Galunking is a sound that bulls do when they're walking up behind a cow and checking the cow to see if they're in estrus. They lick the top of the roof of their mouth, they pull their tongue out, and they suck in that estrus smell from a cow, and it tells them whether they're ready to be bred or not. That's a little harder to do, galunking with your mouth, to do it properly. So I have a special tool that I make called a galunker. You just take your hand and just pop it, go. Just do a rhythm series like that, and it makes it sound like a bull's galunking. The next sound they ask us to do is an alarm bark into a bugling. And an alarm bark into a bugling can be done by a bull that really doesn't know what's happened. He's not really scared, but he's more nervous than he is alarmed, and they'll do this alarm bark into a bugle. The next one they ask you to do is one long high note. And here's a downfall that a lot of people do with that long high note. A lot of people can't learn to hit the note perfectly at the top every time. They have to start off as a staircase and they go do-do-dee, and they don't ask for three notes, they ask for one long high note. So this is something that's important. Learn to hit that long high note on the money. The next last one is called chuckling. Chuckling is probably the hardest thing to do. When you're up on stage and they ask you to do 3 different cow sounds, 3 different bull sounds, you need to know ahead of time and in your mind how to do these sounds. You can't just go up there on stage and hope you can get it done.